ICW, 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 New York fans. I am longtime independent wrestling fan and original ICW fan Robert. One night only, which took place at the Queensboro Elks Lodge, and this was ICW's first show in that building since 2018, which was 5 years ago. And the first time they ran in Queens since 2019. So first time in Queens in 4 years. First time in the Queensboro Elks Lodge in 5 years. Quite a night of action we saw. The show began with ICW owner Danny DeMonto in the ring doing his usual "What's up, motherfuckers" shtick. He introduced ring announcer Righteous Jesse. And then we got underway with our first match. To my surprise, it was Eric Ryan taking on the notorious 187 Homicide. Good matchup. I was surprised knowing Homicide is such an established veteran and, was around before independent wrestling was cool. They could have made us wait for this match. The match actually went into the crowd and crazy. I don't know. At one point, Homicide took Eric down on the parquet floor and gave Eric an elbow drop. And there was this one dude who we may have noticed at other shows in the New York area with a gray top, wearing glasses, and he was like walking around and I guess doing videos and I guess taking pictures, and he was making light of Eric Ryan's pants and all. Well, eventually the match ended with Homicide. He pinned Eric Ryan after hitting a second rope or a top rope ace crusher at 11 minutes 19 seconds to get the pace rolling. Up next was tag team action as Thomas Oliver Vendetta and Malcolm Monroe III, the Michigan Pillars, accompanied the ring by former Detroit Red Wing Darren McCarty, as they challenged Tristan Ty and Gabriel Sky above the rest for the Remarkable Wrestling Tag Team Championship. Pretty good match these two teams had. Of course, Sky and Ty are part of Remarkable Wrestling. Vendetta, I saw him, I think, at that ICW No Holds Barred show. I think it was No Holds Barred number 24, where he had that memorable moment against Isaiah Broner. I forgot how it ended, but above the rest ended up defeating the Michigan Pillars to retain the Remarkable Wrestling Tag Team Championship at 9 minutes 11 seconds. Up next was another championship match as we saw the good guy Azrael basically giving out multiple sights for the birdwatchers as he challenged the young prodigy Marcus Mathers for the Unexpected Wrestling Key to the East Championship. Now, once I saw this match had been announced, and I figured it was going to steal the show. They did very good. I mean, Azrael, he's pretty much he's a seasoned veteran now. He's been wrestling since, late 90s, early 2000s. And Mathers has been quite a buzz in recent memory. Not just because he's the ETE walked in as the champion. Eventually, Marcus Mathers pins Azrael with a 450 splash off the top rope at 16 minutes 10 seconds to retain the Unexpected Wrestling Key to the East Championship. Up next, it was time for a match. Well, this wasn't even a match. As Dr. Redacted, he ended up taking on Cruel. The Atrocity Cruel. That's what he was called. The Atrocity Cruel. Now, Dr. Redacted was supposed to face John Wayne Murdoch, but I guess Murdoch didn't show up. Cruel attacked the Doctor from not even waiting for Righteous Jesse to get through the introductions, and a short time, like not even a full minute into the match, Cruel basically, put the doctor through a door. He showed the doctor the door. And I forgot how it ended, but Cruel ended up defeating Dr. Redacted in this at 4 minutes 6 seconds. The next matchup, we saw Brian Myers take on, well, I guess it's safe to say he's Mr. ICW, Danny DeMonto. Good matchup these guys had, and eventually, right before, actually like a short time after the bell rang, Myers went out to the floor, took the microphone, and challenged Danny to a 2 out of 3 false submission match. And then Danny said, "How about we do this instead? Have a false count anywhere match with no disqualification." And the match was on. Oh, well, Myers. The match was on, and at one point, I think they were putting each other through. I think one board was set up. Danny was put through a board set up. Or was it a board or a door set up between the apron and the guardrail? I believe. Actually, what happened? I think there was a board or a door set up on 2 chairs in the ring. Myers and Danny were straddling on those top ropes. Mittens came out with the baseball bat popper, shall we say. Hits Myers from behind with it. He ends up crashing through that door or board on the chairs. Danny hits the splash off the top rope and pins him to win the matchup. At that point, I had to go to the bathroom, so I think Danny took the microphone. I forgot what he was saying, and this match, by the way, went 15 minutes, 6 seconds. And I think they actually, they didn't have an admission, but they had to clean the ring up. And the action resumed as we saw of course, out comes the Rogue, Brandon Kirk, and he says, I was going to wrestle Cruel, but he ended up wrestling already. So he issued an open challenge, and out came Jordan Oliver of Young, Dumb, and Broke fame. Very good match these two guys had, and Jordan Oliver is another one that's been quite the buzz in recent memory. Of course, he's the current JCW heavyweight champion. I forgot some kind of what move Brandon used, and I don't know if something went wrong. Because after getting the pinfall victory, which at 13 minutes 35 seconds, Jordan had trouble, seemed like he was hurt or had trouble getting up, and the paramedic in attendance came inside the ring and to check on Oliver, and I could see he was already moving around. So if he couldn't move, then there would have been trouble. And then the crowd applauded him and even ringing out some righteous chants, say, "Let's give it up for tough as nails, Jordan Oliver." Well, then the main event, it was Jimmy Lloyd taking on American Deathmatch champion Hoodfoot in a non-title matchup. I can't remember I forgot. I didn't see how it ended, but Hoodfoot, he defeated Jimmy Lloyd to win the matchup and end this show, which went straight through without intermission, and I think it was over by 10:30 p.m., unless I'm mistaken. But personal notes, it was great seeing Ariana, her nephew Francisco, and Chrissy, who, I don't know. I don't know because they're not into violent matches, I guess, because after the third matchup, they all went to the bar and didn't come back to watch the show. Oh, great seeing Michelle, Elliott, Jason Bob 87, Bill Parham. As I mentioned earlier about that one dude in the gray top and the glasses, that dude takes wrestling way too seriously. He seems like one of those wrestling fans that doesn't seem to have a life, it would seem. Throughout the show, there were multiple birdwatchers given out by wrestlers and fans. And I gotta say, Righteous Jesse really stands out as a ring announcer. You wouldn't believe this, folks. During the ETU title match, there was this one dude sitting on the floor who fell asleep. I mean, he eventually woke up, I think, to see the ending of the match, but my God. I think that's pretty sad, especially falling asleep at an indie show. I actually, believe it or not, folks, I saw a lady who fell asleep in the next section over to me at the very first Monday Night Raw at Madison Square Garden back in 1997. As I mentioned earlier, John Wayne Murdoch didn't make the show, apparently, and neither did Captain Shoes, apparently. Wonder, I don't know, it was travel problems or what the deal was with why they both missed the show. Here's some memorable quotes. Lottie! Danny D'Amato! When I came into the room and he saw me. I made it. Me in response when Danny mentioned my last name. Another thing, not many chairs were set up. Now, the one section where I did end up sitting at, they had only 2 rows of chairs, but the second row didn't have any post-its with names written on them. So, you know, I sat over there, and also wound up saving 3 seats for Ariana, Francisco, and Chrissy. And unfortunately, I mean, Chrissy was saying, I should buy you a drink, but that didn't end up occurring. It would be nice if ICW could run. I mean, even though this was titled One Night Only, I don't know if this will wind up a year. Nice. It'd be nice to be like a yearly thing, unless they decide to if ICW decides to come back to the Elks Lodge in the future and try to run there a few times a year, which would be cool. I mean, obviously, going in, I knew the show wasn't going to be as wild as an ICW No Holds Barred show in Newark or any other state. Well, let me see. Seeing that I made the show, Danny D'Amato, since I made the show, does that make you happy? Man, what else can I discuss about this? I forgot to mention Jay Santiago, Michael Sorrentino, I think that's his last name. JB, who saw me at the door. Oh, that's a funny thing. When I actually reached the building, I'm standing on the side street. I forgot what street that is, where the building is addressed on Queens Boulevard. It meets a side street because some fans were out there waiting by the side street, and D'Amato himself came outside and told everyone, we're going to open up soon. We got to go in through the back parking lot, enter through the back door. And a short time after I reached the back door, the ladies opened up. And it was pretty prompt. I forgot to mention Jack Sabbath was in attendance. Well, I think that's pretty much going to do it for this one. I mean, it was great to see ICW again. I mean, it would be nice to see an ICW No Holds Barred event. Problem is, I mean, I can't fathom standing up for 3 hours in Newark, or if you come back to any part of New Jersey for a show. That's got plenty of seating. But again, I hope whether one night only is gonna ends up a yearly thing, or they come back to the Elks Lodge in the future a few times a year. I'm just hoping it does. ICW was the very first independent promotion that I really followed. Of course, I have my personal Dr. Frankenstein. You know, for those who don't remember, if you have like old school ICW, USA Pro shows from the Elks Lodge, whether you have them on videotape or DVD, watch them. You'll probably remember the dude that sat with me, but it's been well over a year and a half. It's been like a year and a half practically since my friendship with the dude ended, and you know, at this rate I'll probably never hear from the dude again. But nonetheless, ICW, ICW, ICW.